Welcome to a football show, Monday edition. That is most of Paul Kuharsky's face. I am Braden Gall. We are, of course, brought to you by Sinkers Beverages here on the 440 Sports Network. It is a gorgeous day. Spring is finally here, and we're going to do some mock drafts, PK, because it is mock draft season. How are you, Paul?
Well. I was trying to find the 440 Twitter to retweet. It's difficult to find sometimes for me. For me.
What are you talking about?
For me.
You're tagged in there just fine. It
doesn't pop up as quickly as.
Please retweet the show if you're watching on Twitter. If you're on Facebook, share it. If you're on YouTube, thumbs up, notifications turned on. I need you guys all in the comments. I'm seeing a lot of you guys already here. Retrodax and Joe and Cam Sail Away and Bustin' Diamond and Go Forth and Space City Titan. We are going to deputize all of you into our scouting department. Now, I haven't decided yet if Paul is going to play the role of Mike Borgonzi and I'm all the deputy GMs, or if I'm going to be Mike Borgonzi and you're all the deputy GMs. I'm not sure yet, but you in the comment section today on the show will absolutely be the scouting department. So when called upon, be ready to comment about what we should do.
Be ready to be ignored if you're the Titans.
Are you trying to suggest that Mike Borgonzi's not a good listener? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I just don't see the scouts as having much power. Give me an initial write-up, and me and my 5 guys will take over from there. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, you're ruining the bit, but thank you. I do appreciate it. Sinkers Beverages is, of course, our great and amazing sponsor, and they are actively working on getting a place for you to buy tickets for our charity draft party event. We're going to have a Thursday night event and a Saturday night event. I've had a lot of questions from a lot of you folks out there. All of the money goes to benefit the Our Kids Center, which is a fantastic charity in Nashville, one of the largest clinics of its kind in the country, taking care of sexually abused children of Middle Tennessee. You'll have all the information. Thursday night is going to be at ML Rose in East Nashville. We're going to have a private party. There's going to be all-you-can-eat food, all-you-can-drink. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a blast on Friday night. We're going to have some giveaways, some nice bourbon, maybe some nice liquor giveaways for those of you who guessed the most top 10 picks correct. And then on Saturday night, we've got another exclusive sort of off-the-record Q&A with a bunch of reporters, maybe some special guests, and some really cool giveaways that I think you're going to really like from the venue, from Sinkers, and maybe from the Tennessee Titans. So going to be a lot of cool stuff. Stay tuned again. If you're listening on a podcast app of choice, we should be able to drop the link in at some point. So stay tuned there. And, of course, on YouTube, the links will be there, and then on socials as well. So just kind of stay tuned to everything. Keep all those notifications turned on. You will get that link very, very shortly. We were trying to get that up for you guys today. It should be up by the end of today or tomorrow. So stay tuned for all of that. PK, support good journalism, of course. PaulKuharsky.com. What do you have up on the site these days, PK?
Well, I've got a good piece about Jeremiah Love and the case for the things that might be in play if they don't take him, with some friends around the league talking about the value, the non-value of a running back at 4, and the history of the Packers while Brinker was there and the Chiefs while Borgonzi was there, suggesting that, hey, in 28 years between those two teams, 1 first-round pick, probably that you endorsed and thought was fantastic, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who busted. And then
why would I think that was a great pick?
Because you're a big SEC guy and a big LSU guy, and
I'm a big LSU guy.
You got to take the SEC back. I could hear you now saying this guy's a great pass catcher and he'll fit in Andy Reid's system and he'll be great, because that's what everybody in the South thought. And it's what most people in the country thought. I might have endorsed it. Hell, I don't know. But they had much better luck with Kareem Hunt, a fifth round pick in their next try, and Isaiah Pacheco, won 2 titles with them as a 7th round pick. And I think there's a lot of evidence there from both of them. Brinker, while Brinker was there, Amon Green became their all-time leading rusher for the Packers. And they got him in a 5th round pick for Fred Vincent in a 6th round pick or something like that.
Chad Brinker goes all the way back to Amon Green?
I think so. He was there from 2009.
Wow. Okay. That's wild.
Both started in 2009.
That's amazing. Okay. Keep going. That's good stuff right there. I had no idea Amon Green, or that Brinker went back that far, I guess. I should have double checked that.
Well, I mean, who was their best running back that they drafted?
Oh, they know. Yeah, I mean, well, they drafted Aaron recently. They drafted Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones was their best, and he was a fifth at 2, I think.
Yeah, and but Jacobs, they didn't. Somebody in the comments was saying that they traded for him. They did not trade for him. They signed him via free agency with a big contract. The Raiders took them very, very high, and so his value has been very good as a player. But
that's also more recent than Brinker. Brinker's been here, is here since that happened.
Yeah, I'm on Green. Now I got to double check this because I'm pretty sure I'm on Green was gone way before that, but we'll see.
06.
You know what it is?
06.
He came back in 09 for like a little, like 40 carries in a season. So maybe that's when he became the all-time leading rusher. So yeah, I'm on Green was a great player back in the day.
That's a great trade. Great trade. I mean, that might be a top 10 NFL trade.
Is that when they acquired him, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a pretty good player.
I mean, you get your all-time leading rusher. A franchise like the Packers gets their all-time leading rusher for Fred Vinson.
Yeah.
Swap of 5th and 6th. That's
pretty good.
Good trade.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you're right. All right. So what we're going to do today, check out the website, of course, paulkuharsky.com. If you want to get involved, of course, we've got this. Yeah, they aren't going running back at 4. Good nugget PK. Bring me Bailey. Green was on the Packers in NFL 2K in 04. There we go. On Green was excellent. My child just called me chopped unk, so I'm sad and confused today. All of our children talk to us like that. PK, I'm sure you get it from a teenager.
I don't get chopped unk.
What'd you get? What do you get? You get
I get called fat a lot.
Look maxing. Do you do the look maxing and the bone smashing and all that good stuff? When does the actual shift from Love to whomever start nationally? Happens every draft season. This is interesting, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Because if the Titans do really like Jeremiah Love, and I think they do, but not because they love the player specifically that he is so great. It's because he has no weaknesses and he's the safest, smartest pick potentially. It's not because it's great value at that position or whatever. There's just a lot of risk involved in all the other picks. We're going to get into that. But if they are actually doing the smokescreen thing here and they are sort of slowly, subtly leaking that they really want Jeremiah Love because they don't, they've almost done too good of a job. Because now there's conversations about people coming up ahead of them to get Jeremiah Love instead of if what they were going for was we want people to come up to 4 to get Jeremiah Love. If that is in fact what's happening, which is far-fetched, I acknowledge, there's a chance they've done it too well. They're not going to get the player or the trade out of the deal.
Yeah, well, I don't know how you talk up the player to get people to come to you for the player.
Yeah.
But I think if that's what's happening here and somebody comes up ahead of them to get him and they didn't want him all along, well, that keeps somebody else on the board for them, which, would be a master stroke. I will say, I get what the question is, but I wonder if Love isn't the guy that they moved to, because before the combine, nobody was on Love for them. So maybe Love is the move, because before Love, everybody had one of the defensive ends. So I wonder if the move just wasn't early.
That is how I feel about it.
I kind of do too.
I think that they went into this going, we like Bailey, we like Bain, we think we like Reese, but we're not sure about these 3 guys. We're not sure about the receivers. They settle on Tate, but 4's a little high. There's weaknesses and questions around all 3 of these edge rushers. And by the end of the combine, they're going, the best player in the draft and the safest pick is Jeremiah Love. And that's how I left the process. So Borgonzi has been very smart and logical and predictable in all of his movements so far in a year and a half. I think that's what John Robinson did early in his career as the general manager for the Titans. And so it feels like the smart, logical, safe thing to do that also instantaneously helps your quarterback and takes the pressure off your rookie quarterback faster than any other pick you can make it for.
There's a lot of good reasons that Jeremiah Love would be a great addition to this team. Still, I think, these 2 guys I quote in the story, as anonymous personnel guys who are 2 of the best personnel guys I talked to around the league, just scoffed at the idea of 4 for the long-term contract implications, for the short life, for the lack of affecting the quarterback, needing to affect your quarterback or the opposing quarterback with the prime pick. And I tend to buy all of that stuff. I'm not going to have a problem if they choose Love. But I think I still lean the other direction. I still think they're going to lean the other direction.
And I said this on Thursday's show with Suss, and that is the issue I have with the other players. They could be better players than Jeremiah Love. The problem is the risk involved. There's risk with Bain not being an edge rusher. There's risk with Bailey not being bendy enough. There's risk with Arvell Reese having never played the position. So there's just risk involved there, and there's very little risk involved when it comes to Jeremiah Love. So, all right, how about we do this? We want to get started here? You want to try to do this with everybody in the comment section? All right, so as you follow along on YouTube, you're going to see what's happening in the mock draft. We've got it queued up for you here. We are not going to do a lot of trades or any trades at all in this, but we're going to talk through trades and what they might look like and how they might be, and we'll see how the draft falls to us. If you want James Foster's entire mock draft, we did one of these on Friday on the Hot Read podcast. He took Sonny Styles with the 4th pick in the draft because he says it's the best linebacker he has ever scouted and is the best player available on the board at the time. So he said he would have taken Love had he been available, but he wasn't. So there you go. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at this as we move along.
You would have taken Love. Love was gone, and you took Styles.
And so he took Styles number 1. So again, if you want all of Foster's, go back and check that out. So if you're looking at this right now, Fernando Mendoza has gone 1, Arvell Reese has gone 2, Carnell Tate has gone 3, and we have a trade offer on the board for the Tennessee Titans. Now, we're not going to do any trade offers, but I think this was an interesting one, which is why I kind of like this version of the mock draft. So this is an offer from the Buccaneers. You get the 15th overall pick and the 46th overall pick, along with a 2nd-round pick. At least this one feels reasonable, PK. There's a lot of them that get offered to you in these simulators that are not reasonable. This one does seem sort of reasonable. I don't think they're going to have a lot of trade offers with the 4th overall pick. They might have 1 or 2 that are close, but I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm not going to make this trade because for the sake of the conversation, it kind of defeats the purpose, but I want you to talk through what you make of a move like that and other moves potentially on the board for the Titans at 4.
Yeah, 15's too far back, but I'd sure like to have 46 in next year's 2nd for Tampa. I think that's a pretty good return. I wouldn't go much further than 8 or 10 probably is my cap, and I think that's probably about where the Titans would be, depending on who was on the board there for them at 4. In this scenario, depending on the Love, depending on the Bailey Love, I could see him trading maybe to 8 or 10. I'd be hard pressed to see him trading to 14.
I have done the exercise to move down to that range, and Jermod McCoy's a really nice option potentially there, cornerback out of Tennessee. But if you're talking about Monroe Freeling out of Georgia and Spencer Fanu and Iona, the guard, and Dylan Thieneman, Keldrick Falk, this is where it thins out pretty badly for the Titans.
Falk maybe is the guy you haven't heard as much about him now.
I think he's redundant with what they've got. I think with Jermaine Johnson and Simmons and John Franklin Myers, I think he doesn't give you anything different than those guys.
I think that's fair. I don't think you can take an offensive lineman there. The offensive line positions you need to fill, you can't do value-wise. And I just don't think you can take a tackle this year that high because he's probably not playing. Or if he's playing, you're putting $22 million on the bench in Dan Moore. Now, if Tate hadn't gone there, I would have counted on Tate lasting a while, but I don't think to 15. So,
yep, I agree with that. So here's the other thing we've got going on this process here. I've got James Foster's. This is his horizontal board, which is a little bit harder to see, but you can kind of see what he's got going on here in terms of who's available. He's got Jeremiah Love there. I took the quarterbacks out just because the Titans aren't taking a quarterback, but this is sort of your tier that you can see here about who's available. So the only player on the top 10 that he's got graded is Sonny Styles. You then have Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, Rueben Bain. You've got Iona, the guard out of Penn State, Moanoa, Francis Moanoa, the tackle out of Miami. You've got the 3 receivers, Tate, Tyson, and Lemon, and then Jeremiah Love. Those are the only ones he's got graded that highly. And if you go, I'll let the big board load here for just a second. But if you look at his big board, In terms of who's available, he's got Sonny Styles at number 1. And I think he's got Fernando Mendoza as one of the only other names that's sort of up there at the top. So he's got Reese as going number 2. He's got Rueben Bain ahead of Jeremiah Love and ahead of Caleb Downs and Jordan Tyson. So here's our decision. We get to make the decision here. I personally think if this is the thing that they're doing, I think Rueben Bain is more of a top 12 pick. I don't think he's a top 5 player. I think David Bailey is the guy I lean over Rueben Bain. If I'm picking one, PK, if I've got to pick an edge player here, I think if this is how the board falls, I think it's Jeremiah Love. What say you all, and what say you, PK?
I think it's Bailey. I think Bailey, not a perfect fit for the open rush end spot, but he's the best you can get in this draft at that spot, which is still open, right? If you go to, I'm going to call up my, and this will take me a second, my projected depth chart. And I've got on that side of the line a blank spot at starter with Jacob Martin as the second stringer, Jalen Harrell and Ali Gay as the other players. That's not a good 3-pack of players where you've got John Franklin Myers, Jordan Elliott, CJ Ravenel, Nate Lynn. So, I mean, you're too deep there, at least with Franklin Myers. And I think Jordan Elliott is a good, decent backup. At Simmons, you've got Simmons and Solomon Thomas. That's a good 2 deep. And then you've got guys like Cam Horsley and Tim Horn and Isaiah Rakes. Those are camp guys. Maybe one of them gets the last spot. The other side, you've got Jermaine Johnson and Femi Oladejo and Malik Herring. That's a nice stack there. You're talking through those 3 other spots, and you've got pretty solid 2 deep, 3 deep at one of them. And that open defensive end spot, you get Jacob Martin, Jalen Harrell, and Ali Gay. Those are not up to par. Jacob Martin maybe is your second, but you have nobody at the front of the line there. And I don't know that the rookie's going to be at the front of the line there, for the first snap on opening day, but he's going to be there a month in. And hopefully he's going to be a part of that unit, for 5 years at least, outlasting all of these guys. Most of whom have 2 or 3 years. So that to me is a blank hole. Running back is not a blank hole.
That's fair.
And that's my rationale.
I think
that completes the defense. I mean, I think if you get that guy on defense, I'd like another nickel back. I think Alontae Taylor's playing outside in this defense. He said as much. Yep. He can go inside, but when he goes inside, then you need an outside guy. Maybe that's Joshua Williams. But
to me, receiver and corner, as we go through this exercise, are absolutely on the table at 35 and 66 and definitely 101. They're going to add an interior offensive lineman, probably a center as well. But at the end of the day, this to me comes down to best available, a.k.a. Jeremiah Love or Sonny Styles, which we have the option to do, both Love or Styles, or you're taking your best pass rusher at this point that fills the hole you're talking about, which in my opinion is David Bailey over Rueben Bain. The problem I have with both of them is that there are holes in their games and you are unsure. There's risk involved in both of them where I feel like there's very little risk involved with Love and Styles. And even you guys in the comments here, very torn on this. Love helps Cam Ward the most. Give me Bailey. Gotta be Love. Love is a no-brainer. Bailey or Styles. All of you guys are torn. I think all 3 of them are good picks. And since I have final say, we're going to take the running back, PK. Is that okay?
That's fine. I think Styles is, the very, very good player. Obviously, the least positionally valuable. You drop him in your defense. Is your defense better with him there? Yeah. What's the difference between Styles and these guys? Rodriguez and some of these other guys that we're going to see come available in the 3rd round. I think less.
So what matters here to me, and we can see Omar Cooper and Casey Concepcion go off the board. So here's a trade offer here right out of the gate. You can get, pick in the 60s early in the 4th round and then a couple of picks next year. That's a really good offer. If you look at who's available, there's another trade offer here. The Bears offered the 57th pick and a second. That's a really intriguing one. That pick 225 doesn't mean much to me. That's like a fullback or backup tight end potentially in this class. But if we look at how the board fell here, PK, with both Cooper and Concepcion going off the board, and Denzel Boston 3 of the last 4 picks. If you looking at edge rusher, you had TJ Parker go off the board as well as Cassius Howell, which I think is okay. I don't want anything to do with Cassius Howell. I think he is even worse than David Bailey in this situation. But if you look at how the board fell, we look at corner first and foremost. You got Brandon Cisse, D'Angelo Pons, Chris Johnson, Keontae Scott, Igbenogson, all good quality options. It all feels a little early for those guys outside of maybe Cisse. I think I would hold off on that position. If you're looking at those, edge is going to be a big one now that we went and got Jeremiah Love, and it looks like there's Zion Young, R. Mason Thomas, Malachi Lawrence is one I really like, and basically after that, PK, those 3 names, you're not drafting a starting level player after that, in my opinion. So if we go, and then of course to look at wide receiver, Chris Bell, depending on how you feel about the knee, Chris Brazel's pretty good, but there's too many good options at this position to go this direction. It feels like edge is the right position to go here when it comes to how this draft has fell. And if we take a look at James Foster's board here and we do the horizontal, you are going to have a chance to see sort of what he thinks of these edge players that are available. And when you come over here to edge, you've got Lawrence here as a middle 2nd round pick, R. Mason Thomas, Zion Young, and TJ Parker. And those are the last 4 available that are of value if you look at this vertical situation. So
I like R. Mason Thomas because I think he's twitchy, and I don't think there are too many twitchy guys. But I don't get the sense that the Titans think very highly of R. Mason Thomas. I'm with you. I think you have to go edge here, and I'm with you on the edge. I think you have to go here. This immediately illustrates the problem. Like, go back to the receivers. I wish I could see this better.
Jeremy Bernard, Chris Bell, Brazel, Williams, Branch, Surratt, Fields.
Look, I'm torn on Bell. I mean, if Bell's healthy, he's not here.
I agree with you on that. I don't think he's available. I agree with you.
So, like, it's an ACL. You're not going to get a lot out of him this year, but he's going to be good. But my point is, if you waited on running back till the 3rd or 4th round, you're getting a top edge, and now it could go wide receiver, and you would have addressed both. And so we've thrown a running back in the mix. I'm
with Joe on this. Receivers will be available at 66. I agree.
We'll see. I'm less up on Concepcion than I was before because I think Wan'Dale Robinson makes him less attractive.
This was presented on Hot Read with James and I. V-Hawk says, ask PK how you feel about trading up from 35. There is a thought that if you go with Love and or Sonny Styles at the beginning and you come back here, that there's Malachi Lawrence could be a high end. He could be a late 1st round pick. And if that's the guy who is the best of these players, then you might have to do instead of waiting for someone to fall to you at 35, you might have to go up to 29 or 30 or 31 to get somebody. I don't love that at all because that's not acquiring more capital, but that is something that we need to think about because that's not something I've really thought about. And I agree with Joe on this as well. Good job, Joe. The whole comments have been good. Love makes wide receiver less important. I don't think wide receiver is an option here. I agree. The only one is Chris Bell, but based on how this board has fallen, I can get Ted Hurst and Malachi Fields later in this draft. Antonio Williams is really good. All those guys are far better than Jeremy Bernard or Chris Bell potentially. So
another year of pushing wide receiver down. Another year.
Well, you got Ridley and Robinson and 2 rookies.
Yeah,
you got plenty of stuff.
So scary. Who's game planning around Calvin Ridley or Wan'Dale Robinson?
They got to get a receiver. They got to get a receiver. This is too. Some of you guys are asking about guards here. This is too early for guard.
No, the pick here is Lawrence. But you forced the pick to be Lawrence by taking Low.
Oh, so here's the thing: when you
one does.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. Zion Young to me is a little bit more of a Keldrick Falk type of player. Really good against the run, more the Jermaine Johnson type. I think Zion Young is 3 out of 3 here. So what I wrote down is if Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, or Omar Cooper are available here, you have to take one of those 3. But none of them are available. Then you look at, in my opinion, it's Malachi Lawrence, R. Mason Thomas, TJ Parker, and Zion Young. Parker's gone. Young is at the bottom of this list. So I agree with you. I like R. Mason Thomas a lot. The twitchiest and most explosive off the ball outside pass rusher, maybe in the entire class.
Outside of Bailey, probably.
But he is not. I think he's even more bendy and more explosive than Bailey. The problem is he's really undersized. And to your point, maybe the Titans aren't in love with that. I will go with you on this, and I will say that Malachi Lawrence is the pick. So,
well, you said it first. I said it second. But so we're in uniform agreement there. Here's the problem, and to the question that I didn't answer about going up from 35, I don't think they can afford to go up from 35. The thing is now everybody knows what they need there, and so if you're if you want an edge there, if you want to end there, and you need to move up a couple spots to get in front of the Titans to go get their guy or a guy that might be their guy, you can very easily do that. And Titans could be sitting there handcuffed.
And what you have to love about Malachi Lawrence is the total package of skills. This is a rangy, lengthy, long arms, got some explosive athletic ability, is going to come off the edge, but also could grow into a 3-down true outside pass rusher. I think there's a chance he's not available at 35, so this might not be a realistic option. I think R. Mason Thomas is available at 35, so we shall see what happens as it pertains to that position, but I would not want to pass on Lawrence or Thomas at that spot at 35. I think after that, it thins out pretty bad in terms of getting a starting pass rusher off the top. If Stillman, how's it going, man? If the wide receivers are gone, why not take the Denver trade and then take the best cornerback, edge, or guard? The Denver trade features 2 top 100 picks. Look, thanks for listening. We are not doing any trades on this. Now, I do think 35 is a great place to trade back. I think if you look at this and you see that Malachi Lawrence is off the board and you see all the 3 receivers that I like are off the board and you don't get one of those corners to fall, Colton Hood, for example, if those guys don't fall, this is a great place to move back 10, 12, 15 spots and then add yourself an extra top 100 pick. So I agree that this is a great place to trade back, hypothetically. At 35, that is. So, all right, let's check out the board, how it fell with the 66th pick here in the draft. Sinkers Beverages, everybody, make sure you stay tuned for tickets for the Thursday and Saturday night draft party, all for charity, brought to you by Sinkers Beverages. They're going to take care of you guys, Sinkers Beverages. All right, so on offense, at wide receiver at 66, who's available? Zachariah Branch, Eliza Surratt, Malachi Fields, Ted Hurst, all available. I don't think you need to go behind Ted Hurst. He is my favorite. Hurst. I love Ted Hurst.
Get a guy who went somewhere big, made big plays somewhere big. He's going to come right in, make plays.
I thought I was an SEC homer. If you're looking at center, Sam Hecht out of Kansas State is already off the board. He is your best center in this class. Logan Jones out of Iowa is available. You've got Jake Slaughter. The problem is you could get Matt Golbin, who is graded as highly as those guys. You could probably get him a little bit later in the draft as well.
What about, is there another center off the board? Or
Connor Liu is off the board as well. The Auburn center's going. If you look at corner, I think this is actually a good place to look at this position. D'Angelo Pons, really good value, but he's an undersized player, going to be in the slot. Traden Stukes has been banged up in the past, also going to be more of a slot player, could be viewed as a safety as well. Chandler Rivers out of Duke. I think Malik Muhammad is overrated in this consensus ranking here. I really like Devin Moore potentially in this slot. I like Will Lee as well, but I don't love the value here unless we love D'Angelo Pons.
What's the linebacker situation?
Linebacker situation, who is available? Josiah Trotter is available. Deontay Lawson. I love the Kyle Lewis pick here. Kyle Lewis could be an excellent addition to this defense because he's so good in coverage, is a tremendous complement to Cedric Gray and to what they do at safety as well. So Kyle Lewis, a very good option here as it pertains to where we're at on this. I still think receiver's the pick, but I'm willing to listen to the room here. What do you guys think? Hurst has great traits. It's Logan Jones time. Pons in the slot would be great, says Caribbean Daniel.
Get another receiver from a place that didn't have to play big time. People who made 2 plays in practice at the Senior Bowl. Who this is one of those situations where everybody outthinks everything. Oh, we're going to outsmart everybody. We're going to get a guy from Georgia State. I hate it. And I'm no expert on Hurst. I just think everybody goes there and thinks we're outsmarting everybody and we're going to get a 4th round receiver who's solving the problem. What round are we in? 3rd?
We're in the 3rd round. If
outsmarting everybody with Ted Hurst.
The problem is I would be fine with Antonio Williams here. And I really like Antonio Williams out of Clemson, but he goes 5 picks earlier to the Rams at 61.
Because we fucked the whole thing up with Love.
Well, then I'm the final decision maker. I'm getting fired, PK, not you. So it's okay.
Fired. You just fucked the whole thing up.
I think we're in good shape right now, actually. So the question is, do we want to go corner here, or do we want to wait on receiver? Because if we wait on receiver, it is going to thin out pretty bad. Like if you look down here, you got Brendan Thompson, who's speedy. Bryce Lance could be a nice outside piece. Jacoby Lane's really interesting. He's a big, tall, kind of outside player as well. Kendrick Law is sort of a Zachariah Branch light version. I love Zachariah Branch. The problem is that he and Wan'Dale Robinson do all of the same things. And that's a redundant skill set to some degree. So I would have no problem with Zachariah Branch here. Fields did not have a good, he had a great Senior Bowl. And then he's got the size. I don't think he tested particularly well at the combine. He's an option. I think he's an option. I like Hurst better than Fields. Your anti-small school thing.
I'm anti-Senior Bowl too. I don't give a shit what anybody did at the Senior Bowl.
Cool. I think your anti-small school thing is completely arbitrary in my opinion. But so the question really is, do we think D'Angelo Ponz is worth it at this value?
I don't want a cornerback here.
Okay.
I mean, you're already taking a running back super high. They've stocked on cornerbacks. Not that they don't need another one, but let's address something that they need.
I don't disagree with that, and I would be okay had Sam Hecht fallen here, the best center in the draft. I'd be willing to listen to that conversation. But in this situation, I think you got to decide between D'Angelo Ponz and pick your receiver. So my vote will be for Hurst, but I'm willing to be overruled if you guys all think somebody is better here.
I can't see the damn list, so you got to read it to me again.
Zachariah Branch, Elijah Surratt, Malachi Fields, Ted Hurst, and I wouldn't go below Ted Hurst. Skylar Bell, Jacoby Lane, Bryce Lance. It's Hurst or Branch for me. I don't love Fields here.
That's Surratt, Ron. It's not.
He is not the Indiana receiver to have.
Yeah.
So if you're just leaving,
I can be talked into Hurst. I just don't love that model for this team.
There we go, Ted Hurst.
I want a guy who's more ready than that.
Here we go. Let's
do
impact
guy, and you've screwed us out of that.
No, I think he's far more prepared than people realize. So if you look at his numbers here,
because he made a couple catches,
6'3", 205, really good athletic scores when you look at his scouting report. He's got George Pickens comps as well. Prototypical frame, length, size. He's kind of got it all here. So we can watch a little bit of film from him as we put Ted Hurst up here. I just think he's one of the only guys that can be an actual outside player who is going to give you all of the route tree and the size and the athleticism. You can see there, great hip, gets down into his breaks, gets outside. You can ask about level of competition all you want to. There's just no way to prove one thing or the other when it comes
Why
to
didn't he transfer? In this day and age, why doesn't a guy transfer?
There's a lot of reasons why a guy doesn't transfer. PK.
Okay, well, tell me.
There's a lot of personal stuff. You could just want to be in a place. You could want to be geographically located where you are. So there you go. If you look at his consensus ratings, he goes way up after the process. This is where he would have been most of the draft. So he's a top 100 player for most of the draft process. So I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with Ted Hurst as an outside receiver who's going to take over for Ridley as this process unfolds. All right, so that means we got to get to corner here.
Swedish dance party. I'm not knocking Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and Terrell Owens. I'm knocking the Titans' ability to develop receivers. Period.
I agree with you. I agree. Mendoza and Simpson are going 1-2 or in the top 3. That would be great news for the Titans. that would be tremendous news for the Titans if that was true. If you add Hurst and you add Jeremiah Love to this roster, I think Cam Ward's job just got a lot easier. We got to fix the offensive line now.
Now, Bustin' Diamond is virtually dead on. Like we're being dictated to here.
Are you talking about Logan Jones?
This is a good example. So what's happened here?
I love Bud Clark.
Is by taking Jeremiah Love fourth, we've dictated to ourselves positions throughout the rest of this thing on the need. We've left ourselves no flexibility. We've gotten to each position. There's only been reasonable picks at one group the rest of the way, and we've kind of forced our hand and given ourselves no flexibility.
Well, but I still think you can go with best available player here if you want to. It doesn't look like Bud Clark is available here, guys. And I don't think he's going to be available at 101. VJ Payne's a really nice player. Jalen Husky's a really nice player. If you look at linebacker, it's how it's fallen here. Aiden Fisher is available at 101. I think he's a luxury pick. I think that's more of 140s. Deontay Lawson's a really talented piece.
What's the center situation?
If you go back and look at center, this is where this falls. It's corner, in my opinion, as the board has fallen. You have two good options, Logan Jones and Jake Slaughter here. You could still get Matt Golban later, which this is the key to me. Logan Jones is the better player than Matt Golban. Matt Golban is a phenomenal run blocker. Very strong at the point of attack, is going to make your running game better.
You got this fantastic running back now. It can make things happen.
I disagree. And so you come in and you go, all right, who's available at corner? You could get Charles Demings later. You could add Jaden Kennedy later. Really good athletic profile there. Devin Moore is probably your last good, true starting outside corner that could play right away. So if you want to take a corner, I think it's Devin Moore, or wait till I don't know who's going to be available at 142 or 144. I think there's a really good case to be made for both Logan Jones, Jake Slaughter. I think you can get Gallman at 140. So if you want the corner center combo, I think you got to take the corner here. What do you say?
I think you got to take the center.
Okay. Because you think they've spent enough at corner to solve the problems immediately.
I think you still need a corner, but I think when you take the running back where you took the running back, that a bunch of other stuff is trickling in a way that's forcing your hand. And I don't think you can wait on the center anymore if you think this center's got to compete with Schlotman and Slater.
So there are what appears to be, according to James's breakdown, that there are 4 centers who are starting ability. That's Sam Hecht at Kansas State, Matt Golban, Connor Liu, and Logan Jones are the 4 that he's got as the guys.
One of them now.
So this guy, Matt Golban, you could get later. So that's the question. What do you think we should do that now and pass on corner?
Well, I think if you're pretty confident Matt Golden being there later.
That's true. No,
I'm worried if he's not there later. I don't have a starting center.
All right. Well, let's take Logan Jones then. I've listened to the scouting department, the Logan Jones fan club in the comment section, and PK. We'll take Logan Jones here out of Iowa as our pick as it pertains to this one. So, all right. So if we'll see what happens here as this unfolds, and I'll let you know about Sinkers Beverages. Of course, make sure you support good local businesses. Sinkers Beverages. You can search Uber Eats and have that booze delivered directly to your house. So make sure you check out Sinkers Beverages. They've got a fantastic bourbon selection, an enormous wine selection with very high-level experts that will take care of your needs depending on what you may or may not need. If you've got a dinner party, you got whatever it is you're doing, they've got options for you there. They have non-alcoholic options, great non-alc beer. They've got THC beverages. They've got mocktails. They've got tons of barware as well. Which makes for all kinds of, if you got small gifts for birthdays or whatever, also just good to fill out your bar. And of course, that award-winning craft beer retail fridge where you can walk in and you can pick out all kinds of delicious stuff, most of which is brewed right here in Nashville. Yazoo Brewing Company. You've got East Nashville Beer Works, and you've got Tennessee Brew Works. All 3 really great options there. Okay.
We messed up, by the way, in the 3rd and the 4th by not looking at the running backs who were available there.
You took Jeremiah Love though, PK. So
I know, but I would have liked to.
To see who's available. I got it. Jaden Kennedy may not be here out of Oregon. A really speedy player, really nice complimentary. He's more of a slot player as well. We missed out on Charles Demings, who would have been a really good outside option here. Massis out of Cal is interesting, but this is not a super attractive list of corners here, PK. So
I'm familiar with Cal from last year from Marcus Harris.
Yeah, see, you got Golban and Zune both available at center here at 140 and 142. We could take a look at linebacker as well. Harold Perkins is available. I'm not sure. I like him more than everybody else does. Elam Alarms Orr is a really nice piece at a TCU. That would be one I could see us taking. And then VJ Payne out of Kansas State. James seems to think that he's a top 100 player and could go that high. That's not how the scouts have and sort of the consensus has what they've done with him. So we could also take a depth offensive lineman. If you're looking at OT and guards here, Bo Stevens, really good piece. Pair him with Logan Jones. You've got a bunch of, I think you can come back and get another offensive lineman a little bit later on. Where are you leaning here? And do you want to see anything on the board right now as we're looking at it?
I'd be curious about corners.
I think Kennedy is the right pick here.
I'd be curious about tight end maybe.
And remember, we're picking 2. We get 2 out of 3 here. So if you go back and look at tight end, I think Kazoil is the one that would be available here if you wanted to add him from a pass catching option. I think that's worth the look at here. If you go back and look at the big board, all these tight ends are pretty. Cuevas out Alabama's really interesting. None of these guys are graded higher than a 5th round pick, but that's about where we're at here. So Stowers and Bentley and Delp and Trigg, Claire and Jolly are all gone. We could go with a tight end. We do have 2 picks here. So what are you feeling? Corner and tight end, corner and safety. I think VJ Payne's a really good option. That really takes care of your secondary.
I don't feel like we're in the 5th here. If you're not feeling like there's an offensive lineman that's screaming out to you,
just another center. I mean, it's the guy that I would have taken, Matt Golden.
Center.
Yeah, we're not taking another one of those.
I need a tackle who projects the tackle.
So Diego Pounds out of Ole Miss would be one to target in the 170s, 180s. He's a tackle who projects as a swing tackle who can play a lot of places. Keegan Trost is probably going to be a guard. Both of those guys really good run blocking guys that could kind of supplement as backups and kind of develop over time. I like both of those guys a lot. If you go to true guards, again, Bo Stevens is a really good piece there. I don't know if you want to draft as true guard. I think you want to draft a swing tackle that can play a lot of positions, in my opinion.
I
would lean corner and safety here, potentially doubling up on coverage just to help your secondary. But also, I don't mind the tight end pick. I just think it's a little early for one of these guys.
Did we talk safety? I know we talked corner.
VJ Payne is the one option. I really like him. I think he's the best player available on the board, personally. If you look at everything, this is a guy, if you come over here, I think James has him ahead of Bud Clark and Wheatley and Halsey, ahead of Kilgore and Husky. He's got him as a mid-3rd round pick. So really good value there, according to him. So I like the pick with Payne. I would probably come back and I might double up here and go with the corner and add a depth piece in Jaden Kennedy, who's a speedy slot guy that kind of just adds another piece. And then I'm less worried about taking Love and managing the secondary.
Does he have some size, Kennedy?
No, he's more of a slot guy. But if you look at where he's at, he's got him graded as a late 3rd round pick, right there with Keontae Scott, ahead of Austin Igbinosa, Lee, Muhammad, and Neal. So he's a good value pick at this point if he is available at this point. So there we go. Fixed our secondary just like that. Boom, in the 5th round with 2 picks back to back. And we'll see what falls to us with a couple more picks. I think now we're looking at tight end. We're looking at offensive line. So all kinds of stuff here. So he's really, really good, says Caribbean Daniel. Need O-line depth piece. I agree with that. We added a safety. I'm okay with wide receiver Rob. We'll see what happens here. Ephesians Prysock has the best name. That is true. Not a reason to do that. I would take Brazel and Bell over Hurst any day. We did not have that choice. Those guys were off the board when we were on the board on the clock taking our pick. Kennedy and Payne. Look at that. Caribbean Daniel likes our plan. There you go. Any other comments here? Anything else you want to add so far, PK? So what we've got going on here is what we got: Jeremiah Love, Malachi Lawrence, Ted Hurst, Logan Jones, VJ Payne, Jaden Kennedy. So far, we got secondary, we got offensive line, we got pass rusher. How you feeling?
I feel all right. I feel a little dictated to instead of dictated.
If you look at linebacker here, pretty thinned out. Not a lot left on the board. Jack Kelly's an interesting piece. Eric Gentry's an interesting piece.
Good draft for Cody Barton.
Yeah, that's right. I think this is where you take your swing tackle here at 185. I think you take your swing depth piece on offensive line here. Either Keegan Trost or Diego Pounds, I think, are both good options. If you're looking at tight ends, you're kind of, Gillenborg is an interesting piece. He can be a little bit more of a pass catcher. He's sort of the tall, skinny, athletic guy. He's a little bit more of a Gunnar Helm type. He's kind of going to overlap with his skill set, so that might be redundant. The name to watch here is Riley Nowakowski, who is sort of a Ben Sinnott kind of fullback, like a poor man's Kyle Juszczyk type of player. He could really help all kinds of different things with this offense.
So popular, they don't have a write-up on him.
Yeah, he's not a pass catcher, PK. You're not drafting him to catch passes. So I would probably vote for either Trost or Pounds at this point, if that makes sense. We could look at wide receiver also. It's pretty thin there. Eric Rivers is a nice piece, super speedy. Otherwise, Savion Thomas at LSU is a nice piece. It's pretty thin here at wide receiver. So if we're going to take a second one
for an offensive lineman,
offensive line, I'm okay with Keegan Trost here. I think that's the right play. If you're okay with that, so there we go. We'll do that. There's our 184th pick, and then we've got 2 more left to go here. As the names kind of tick off the board, we'll see what happens. So let's take a look here at wide receiver. And if you go down the board, you got Colby Young as a 5th round value. You got Harrison Wallace, Eric Rivers, Savion Thomas, Kevin Coleman is a speedy guy. Bryce Lance is off the board. Kendrick Law's off the board. So if we wanted to double up at receiver, it would be hard to do. But we could go Rivers here if you want.
People are asking about Deion Burks, Eric McAllister.
Colby Young's available for sure. I think Burks is long gone, to be honest with you guys, because I think if you look at where James has him graded, he's up there with Jeremy Bernard as a late third-round pick in terms of where he's graded on the horizontal big board. I think Rivers gives you something different than Hurst. It gives you a speedy option to develop alongside of Wan'Dale Robinson and DK. So that might be my option if you like depth here at wide receiver.
I like
not a great linebacker option here. So
I don't trust the Titans to develop any depth at wide receiver, but I like it.
That's true. Let's take Eric Rivers here, and we'll move on to the final pick, which I'm gonna campaign for Nowakowski here. But I'll give the pick to whoever else wants it. So, all right. Are you running into a numbers crunch at wide receiver? That's an interesting question, PK. What do you make of that?
Well, so we drafted 2 here.
We drafted 2 here. That is correct.
We've got
at least 4 locked in.
Ridley, Wan'Dale, DK, Isle Manor. Am I missing anybody there? Next would be Oliver.
Oliver, yeah. But I mean, if they're receivers 5 and 6,
so,
that's where you're at.
We're at 7. I'm fine with 7. Now maybe you have 6. Come time if this our 6th rounder here doesn't pan out.
But yeah, no other linebackers available here. So Landon, I guess. Look, if he's got Lander Barton graded that highly, I could be convinced to take a linebacker here. But it looks like he's off the board. Gentry, Kelly, Jefferson. It looks like Justin Jefferson is the highest available according to James Foster's rankings here.
It's going to cause a lot of confusion.
Justin Jefferson?
Yeah.
Taking a Barton or Jefferson. So again, I would probably take Riley Nowakowski here, who is a kind of a jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife of an offensive weapon that kind of helps you in other ways because he's not really going to touch the football. So I think he helps you in your run game with blocking. I think he helps you, scheme up different looks on offense around Cam Ward. So I'm okay with which direction you. Yeah. What are we missing here? Linebacker.
Yeah.
Okay. You have any? You want me to go grab somebody here? We can grab Justin Jefferson. I'm fine with that. We could do that.
I mean, this guy's probably not making the team.
No, and this was an interesting point that James Foster made on the show last week, that he thinks outside of the top 100 or 120 players in this draft,
this is good.
He thinks the rest of the draft might not make the team. Any team, not the Titans, but any team. I thought that was pretty eye-opening, I thought, to be honest with you.
This seems to be kind of, I've heard it talked about as kind of the last year of the NIL catch-up. So thinner talent in that regard with players staying. What did we get as a grade? Did they grade you?
I don't think it's not Pro Football Focus. I don't think they don't do the grade, but so here you go. You've added on the offensive line, you've added Logan Jones and Keegan Tross to help. Then you've added Jeremiah Love, Ted Hurst, as well as Eric Rivers to the passing attack and the offensive weaponry around Cam Ward. You've went and got probably the last dynamic, true outside edge rusher in Malachi Lawrence. You've helped your secondary with 2 pieces that do an excellent job with a lot of range and coverage skills, but different. BJ Payne going to play a little bit higher point safety. Kennedy going to be in the slot. Eric Rivers with some speed, and then you've added a depth linebacker just to see if you can develop somebody into a player that makes a roster. So I think you could do a lot worse than this. I think one of the exercises I like doing is let's take Love or Styles early and see how you fill your needs, to your point about being pigeonholed, PK. And I think this is an excellent turn, and they didn't make – there's no trades at all in this. I think this is an excellent draft.
I can't pretend to know guys at 142 and beyond very well.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm super focused on those top 4 picks.
Doesn't this make Cam Ward's life better? A center, a receiver, and a running back in the top 101?
Oh, it certainly does. I just don't know And that's the running back that's going to make the biggest difference. I'd like a receiver that's up a notch from there.
Okay.
And I can't tell. The basis of my knowledge about the centers is largely reading other people at this stage. So,
Caribbean says, "Thanks, guys. Got to get back to work. It was fun." Cam says, "Great draft." Swedish asked a good question here, PK, to you, which is Pollard or Spears, who's out if Love is in. I think that is an interesting.
Well, I don't think
debate.
they'll give Love. Well, I mean, Love 350 touches seems high to me.
I agree.
I think that they will keep everybody.
I think you're right. I think you don't. Why put that much pressure on any one player? I don't necessarily.
Also, if
disagree
you're
with that.
hurt, I mean, if you're hurt, Pollard can be the top line guy, and if Pollard's hurt, Love can be the top line guy. I'm out on Spears largely. I mean, I don't think he's an effective between the tackles runner, and so I think you're telegraphing what he can do when he's on the field. I think carries given to him to run between the tackles are a waste largely.
Let's just glance at Malachi Lawrence here for a minute, just to see the sort of size and the kind of. He's got really long arms, really good range, comes off the edge, and could be an actual starting outside linebacker or pass rusher. So he's got more than one move. You can see there with the swim and the rip. So he's got more than one move coming off that. He can stand up. He can put his hand in the dirt. He's got that bend and burst off the edge. So there you go. And by the way, check out James's draft information, like just the website itself, jfosterdraft.com. You can get so much detail on all these different players and all these guys. So it's a great place to go check out players. So there you go. All right, PK, what about that? How'd you feel about that?
Oh, that's pretty good, except for the migraine I've got from trying to see the stuff.
I'm sorry.
And I don't know if people understand, like the size that you're seeing it and the size that we're seeing it is not the same.
Okay, well, put it up on your big screen TV.
Well, yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, put it up on the big screen TV and have it going on the big screen there. So there you go. I hope everybody. I was trying to also talk us through it because it's a podcast, so hopefully everybody hears.
Yeah, no, you did a good job.
What we
Space City Titan says worst case scenario is that Reese and Bailey go back to back, and I think that is a very popular scenario right now.
So you're saying the pick would then be Love, Styles, or Bain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can see if that's Control Plus only does so much on the inside of StreamYard.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, it's a me problem. My eyes are not great. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's just what happens to everyone in life as we get older.
Yeah.
I'm with Sammy on this. I don't think you can take Bain at 4.
I would struggle with it as well. I mean, if it's down to Love, Styles, and Bain, I'm a lot more comfortable with Love than I am.
How do you feel about Styles, though? If we were to take Styles instead of Love and add a really dynamic weapon to your front seven, which does take the pressure off of having to have a great edge, but if you come back and go Styles and Lawrence, your front seven should be in really good shape for a long time. Like one of the best front sevens in football.
I don't think they can go Styles and Lawrence. I mean, if they're going with the defender in the first round, the second round pick has to be a receiver, unless it's just completely dried out there. If it's then your next two picks have to be receiver, running back, I think.
I love. So wait, you think they need to take a running back? If they don't take Love, you think a running back is on the board at 101?
I think a running back in the third or the fourth would be on the board. Yeah.
Wow. I just don't see the need as that great. I think Love is a different type of pick.
Well, I think they need a number one with Pollard that has more juice than Pollard to turn a 20 into a 40, which Pollard can't do anymore. Now, I'd be fine if they went and signed Brian Robinson.
But that's not his game, though. He's a bruiser
right now. That's fine. I just need another body. That's why I'd rather they draft. But if they decide, I think Robinson or somebody, I haven't looked at the list lately, but a veteran would be the alternative to them not drafting somebody. But I expect them to come out of this draft with a player that they can give a reasonable amount of touches to.
Here,
That
what?
they treat like people think they should treat Tajay Spears.
I think Spears is more of that player than you do, but I don't think he's dependable for more than like the season, maybe 100 touches total. I don't know what he's going to give you more than that.
Isn't enough.
Well, somebody asked me to do this, and I'll just do it real fast. Let's take David Bailey at 4 and just show people what happens when you get to David Bailey at 4. Now look who's fallen. Look at all these receivers. Look at all these receivers that fell. Boston and Concepcion. This is where you take Concepcion with David Bailey. This isn't going to happen. This isn't realistic. That's the problem.
Exactly what's going to happen.
This is the problem with all of this, is that you just won't work. So we'll take a corner here at this spot. We'll go with Keith Abney, and then you come back, and then you can get your guard. You can get your center here, whoever the best one available. You could take Logan Jones, and see, there you go.
Now look at running back.
Now I've got Bailey, Concepcion, Abney, and Jones.
I don't know why you took Concepcion, because I think he's.
See, I don't want any of these guys. If Keelan Black is available out of Indiana, maybe, but I don't think I want any of these guys until later. I might take Moss in the 7th.
Should have looked at him around early.
Why are you so high on that position? I don't think that's that big of a need for the team.
Why am I so high on this position that you're going to take at 4?
That's not the argument. I'm not suggesting that that's what they need to do. I'm saying it's like the best option for them to do is what I'm saying. That's all. That's all I'm saying. See, now I think you've been dictated to. I think you're dictated to by this strategy, because I think you get stuck and you're like, no, I don't want any of those guys.
All right, so
maybe another receiver. This is where I'm like, okay, Kendrick Law is interesting. I think there's more of you're being dictated to a little bit more than you realize.
Well, we're now in the 5th. We were dictated to in the 2nd.
Look, I'll do the same thing. Payne and Kennedy with 42 and 44. That doubles up on corner. That gives us 3 guys in the cornerback room. I'm going to come back and get another receiver. We got offensive tackle. We could take Keegan Trost. I'm going to get my running back in a second. There we go. Le'Veon Moss at running back. And now we're stuck here at this position. Now what are we going to do? We got our edge. This is basically the same layout here. The receiver a little early, the edge early, moved running back to the bottom. Payne and Kennedy at the same place. Jones at the same place. Trost at the same place. Got a running back at that location, and then you probably come back here and you take Colby Young. So
who's the running back?
Le'Veon Moss out of Texas A&M. So he's one of the only ones I would consider. So there you go. There's a different look for all you guys. How do we feel?
I like Concepcion.
Yeah, look, yuck, that draft stinks.
They're basing it completely on love or no love.
Hard pass. Well, I hope that's not what they're saying. I hope that's not the case. I just think there's flexibility. I think this is the one thing that I've learned through this whole process, and I think this is the key, and that is if they can get extra picks in the top 120, they need to do everything they can to get extra picks in the top 120. I don't think any of the players at 180, 190, and 225 are going to be on the roster. So if you can move from 35 down to 50, if you get your edge with Bailey or Bain or Reese at 4, I think that's when you trade 35. Because the reason you keep 35 is for the edge that falls to you. But so that's Love or Styles up front. But if you take an edge, Bailey or Bain at 4, I am absolutely looking to move 35 because the corners and the receivers aren't worth it at that spot, in my opinion. But they're really good between 50 and 100. So if you could stockpile receivers and corners and offensive linemen between 50 and 100, that's what I'd want to do if you go Bailey or Bain in the first round.
Well, what'd they go last year, though? They went from like 33, and they went to 55 for Femi.
I think that sounds right.
Seemed big.
Yeah, and they added, 82?
Something like that.
So I think if you go from 35 to 50 and drop 15 spots and add pick 75, I'd be fine with that. But it's also how the board falls to you. If a bunch of corners and receivers are available there, guys that fell out of the first round, Colton Hood, Concepcion, Denzel Boston, then I think you take the player. But there's a good chance all those guys are gone. And if you've already taken Bailey, there's no value in R. Mason Thomas or Zion Young or Malachi Lawrence at 35. So I think that's when you trade back.
Well, then somebody maybe wants to come up for one of those guys.
That's right.
Are we sure Amy V. Hawk says is not the one that's going to make this pick? If she is, I'd wager she takes love. If she's making this pick,
they're all fired.
All of this stuff that they've done to get things on track are meaningless.
How much say is Brinker have in all this, in your opinion?
A little less than he had before, but I mean, I think Borgonzi's still using this. These people surrounding him as a committee of advisors. So I think he's got some pull.
Okay. All right. I'm just curious. I think he is in the room. I think his voice has been greatly diminished. And I don't think he's like has a problem with that. Like I get the sense that he's okay stepping further back. Does that make sense? Like I don't know. Maybe it wasn't by choice at first, and now I think he's okay with it, if I had to guess. So, all right, make sure you check out Sinkers Beverages. Stay tuned on social accounts, the YouTube links. We can put those in the YouTube video page as well, and on the podcast app. I'm hoping to have those links up and running by the end of today or tomorrow. So stay tuned. Tickets for Thursday night and for Saturday night. We're going to have a really cool event Saturday night and just a really fun laid-back hang on Thursday night. It's going to be a lot of fun. Free food, all you can drink, giveaways, prizes. We're going to have some grab bags, swag bags to give away as well. So going to be a lot of fun. All of the money goes to charity. So please support the kids. Support the kids of our community. Our Kids Center is the organization that all the money goes to. We've raised, I think, over $12,000 so far in 4 years to do this. So hopefully we can raise some more for these kids. So please, you guys, even if you're not coming, if you want to buy a ticket, that's great. Give it to somebody who can come in the market. We would really appreciate that. So other than that, check out Good Journalism, of course, as well. PaulKuharsky.com. Listen to all the other great shows across the platform. Go check out James Foster's mock draft over on Hot Read podcast, which is also up on the YouTube page as well. Otherwise, thanks to Sinkers for doing this every single year and supporting us and keeping us on the air. What else you got? Anything else, PK? I think that's everything. I think we got it.
Yeah. Stuff coming soon from Mike Herndon and Blake Bedingfield.
There you go. There you have it. PK.com, PaulKuharsky.com, Sinkers Beverages, and 440 Sports. For Paul and Braden, thanks for listening and hanging out. We'll talk to you next time.
Cheers.